You think the rebellion against the false creator started with Jesus? It didn't. Long before the name of Christ was ever spoken, before salvation became a doctrine, someone else had already seen through the illusion. His name was Seth, not a prophet, not a god, a human who woke up. The Gnostics believed Seth was the first awakened one, the prototype of spiritual defiance, and that idea was buried, feared, and silenced for nearly 2,000 years. Comment this right now: I'm not worshipping a counterfeit. Most people only know Seth as the third son of Adam and Eve, a quiet replacement for Abel in Genesis. That's the surface story. But in the Sethian Gnostic texts discovered at Nag Hammadi, Seth is something entirely different. He is the first human to recognize that the God ruling this world is not the ultimate source. He is the one who looked at the structure of reality and refused to bow. Early church fathers labeled his followers heretics. Entire sects called Sethians were condemned. Their writings vanished, burned or hidden, until jars of ancient manuscripts were unearthed in the Egyptian sands of Nag Hammadi in 1945. Texts like the Apocryphon of John, the Gospel of the Egyptians, the Three Steels of Seth, the Hypostasis of the Archons, the Second Treatise of the Great Seth, and even the Gospel of Judas. Now, rewind. According to these texts, the true, ineffable God did not create this material universe. A lesser being did, the Demiurge, a blind, arrogant entity who believed himself to be the only God. He fashioned the material world as a prison, beautiful on the outside, corrupt at the core, a system designed to trap souls in ignorance, desire, fear, and death. Adam and Eve were formed carrying within them a fragment of the higher divine light, a spark from beyond the cosmos, from the pleroma. The Demiurge and his archons, the rulers of the cosmic layers, sought to bury that spark under illusion. In the Apocryphon of John, humanity splits. Cain and Abel become bound to confusion and the forces of the archons. But when Seth is conceived, something shifts. He is born not from ignorance, but from remembrance. Sophia, the divine feminine wisdom who had fallen into the material realm, secretly plants her spark within Seth's lineage. In him, the repair begins. Seth becomes the symbol of the true human, the one who remembers, the one who sees through the illusion. The early Sethians called him the father of the spiritual race, and here's the moment that changes everything. The texts say that after his birth, Seth laughed at the powers of this world. Let that sink in. Seth laughed. Not mockery, not arrogance, awakening. His laughter meant he saw the rulers for what they were, impostors, blind architects of a counterfeit system. That laughter was victory. It was the realization that the Demiurge's power was rooted in deception, not truth. I remember the first time I read that line. It hit me in the chest. Not because I felt enlightened, but because I recognized the pattern. How many systems in our world depend on us never questioning them? I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I can barely remember where I put my keys, but that image of laughter in the face of illusion stays with you. Seth didn't rebel against the true divine. He rebelled against a counterfeit light, and that's why his story had to be erased. Because if awakening is possible, if salvation comes through remembering who you are instead of obeying an external authority, then the entire control structure cracks. Seth didn't keep this insight to himself. He passed on a lineage, not of blood, but of knowledge. Gnosis, direct knowing. The Gnostics taught that Seth was shown the structure of the heavens, the names of the archons governing each layer, and the path back beyond them to the pleroma. In the Three Steels of Seth, he stands before the invisible God and declares, I know you, I know your names, I know the eons that came forth from you. That is not worship. That is remembrance. The Sethian tradition described 3 stages of awakening. First, recognition. Realizing the God of this world is not the ultimate source, but a counterfeit. Second, remembrance. Awakening the divine spark within through inner vision and knowledge. Third, ascent. After death, the soul passes through the gates of the archons by knowing their names and refusing their deception. Names were keys. Knowledge was liberation. Comment this: I can feel the veil. According to the hypostasis of the archons, the rulers conspired, saying, "Let us bring upon them delusion, so that they may forget their source." And then comes the flood. Not simply punishment for sin, an attempt to drown the seed of Seth, to erase the spiritual lineage. But in the Gospel of the Egyptians, Seth is warned by luminous beings. He preserves the sacred Gnosis before the waters rise. The flood mirrors the story of Noah, but reframed. The true ark is consciousness, the preservation of awareness while the rest of humanity sinks into forgetfulness. After the waters recede, the demiurge still rules. Civilizations rise under different names for the same ruler: Yahweh, Zeus, Saturn. The brotherhoods of light move in secret. Mysteries of Hermes in Egypt, echoes among the Essenes, early Christian mystics. The spark survives underground. Seth is said to have prophesied the coming of another, not a replacement, a continuation. Many Gnostics believed this referred to Christ, not the institutional figure shaped by the Roman Empire, but a cosmic emissary from the Pleroma. The same force that awakened Seth manifests again. In the Gospel of Judas, Jesus laughs at the disciples who worship the God of this world. In the second treatise of the great Seth, the voice declares, "I am Seth, the same current." The same rebellion against the demiurge. The Church, forming under Roman authority, needed order, obedience, structure, not awakening. So Gnosis was labeled heresy. The texts were destroyed. Salvation was externalized. God moved to the clouds. The inner search became pride. But the Sethian current never vanished. It resurfaced in Alexandria, among mystics, among poets. Among those who felt this world was not their true home. Now look at the symbols. The serpent in Eden. In Orthodox tradition, villain. In the hypostasis of the archons, messenger of Sophia. The serpent invites awakening. Your eyes shall be opened. The fruit is revelation, not sin. The tree connects pleroma to matter. The so-called fall becomes the first spark of awareness. The archons invert the symbol. Wisdom becomes evil. Knowledge becomes sin. And the cross. Before it was a Roman execution device, it was sacred geometry, the intersection of spirit and matter. In the second treatise of the great Seth, the Gnostic Christ says it was another who drank the gall. They thought they killed me, but I was laughing. Again, laughter, the awakened spirit, untouched by the illusion of suffering. History didn't just erase truth, it inverted it. Now let's bring this into our world. The Gnostics said the demiurge operates through illusion, imitation, and control. It doesn't need thunder and lightning. It works through systems, through distraction, through conformity. Be honest. How often have you picked up your phone to do something important and suddenly 20 minutes vanish into scrolling? I've done it. Planned to read. Planned to think. Instead, I'm chasing notifications. That subtle pull toward validation. That's how illusion works. Not dramatic, just constant. The archons were described as parasites of the mind, feeding on emotion. Look at modern media, outrage cycles, fear headlines, division as entertainment. A system that keeps you reactive instead of reflective. The demiurge today doesn't need temples. It has screens, it has markets, it has endless noise. And when you question it, there's pushback. I remember bringing up some of these ideas to a friend once. He looked at me and said, "Don't overthink it. Just live your life. Not cruel, just uncomfortable. The system resists being examined." The Gnostics said, when a soul begins to awaken, confusion increases. False light appears, comfort calls you back, because once you see the mechanism, you can't unsee it. Recognizing the names of the archons today means recognizing patterns, fear of being different, fear of losing status, fear of silence. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you withdraw consent from illusion. This isn't about rejecting the world, it's about seeing clearly. And here's the deeper layer. The demiurge as a system of perception, a structure inside your own mind. Social media teaches you what to desire. News teaches you what to fear. Culture teaches you what success looks like. And if you don't match it, you feel small. That's the prison, not walls. Perception. The archons in this sense are psychological programs. Automatic reactions, tribal outrage, the need to belong so badly that you silence your own questions. The system feeds on comparison, on endless consumption, on the belief that fulfillment is just one more purchase, one more achievement away. But even when you get what you chased, there's that quiet emptiness. That's imitation light. The Gnostics would say the demiurge copies truth, but cannot create it. It offers reflections, not substance. And the more we chase reflections, the further we drift from remembrance. Look at how difference is treated. Step outside consensus, and you risk being labeled strange or dangerous. That pressure to conform is ancient. The rulers create delusion, so you forget your source. Delusion today looks like constant distraction, constant outrage, constant comparison. The real rebellion is internal. It's choosing to observe your own mind, not letting every headline dictate your emotion, not letting every trend define your identity. The prison isn't locked. The chains are belief. Seth's laughter was the moment he realized the ruler's power depended on his participation. Once he withdrew it, their authority cracked. And here's the part that matters. The story of Seth is a mirror. The seed of Seth isn't a bloodline, it's awareness. Those who feel this world isn't ultimate, those who sense something deeper behind the noise. That's not superiority, it's responsibility. Freedom begins when you stop mistaking the prison for paradise. Comment this: I choose remembrance. If this kind of deep dive into hidden texts and symbol inversion speaks to you, subscribe. We're going further into the patterns of the demiurge and what was buried. So ask yourself one thing: when the false light fades and the noise goes quiet, will you remember who you truly are?